makes us human? Is it the mind or is it the heart that feels? Either way, the question of what makes us human is a question that has no simple answer. Except, I think I found a piece of it, our ability to feel moved by art, to see ourselves reflected when reading a story or hearing a song. But first, let me tell you how I came to this conclusion. Like a lot of places, Vietnamese culture values knowledge and wisdom. So, as a child, I grew up surrounded by people who put a very strong emphasis on academics. There's a focus on studying hard and pursuing higher education. I get it, studying is very beneficial, right? Not just in terms of getting a career and earning money, but also in terms of knowledge and being aware of what's happening around the world. So I myself relate to this. Throughout my life, my parents told me to focus on studying and getting good grades, just like a lot of other parents. And I do believe in it. To this day, I still believe that acquiring knowledge would be good for anyone. And I noticed that people around me also share this mindset. Some people take this ideology less seriously than others, some more, some might even take it to an extreme level where their only identity and routine is fused with going to extra classes. Every day, I meet kids the same age or younger than me who are extremely smart and extremely talented, but it seems like all they care about is studying. I remember talking to this one girl in math class, and I asked her a mindless question just out of curiosity. I said, Ling, her name is Ling, what is something that you care about the most right now? Ling carelessly answered, oh, I worry if I'll get into a good university. I nodded, understanding because this was also one of my worries. Then I followed up. Once you do get into a good university, then what? At this question, Ling paused before joking. Oh, I worry if my brother will even get into a university. Then we just laughed and continued with the work. So, at first, it was simply a careless, light-hearted chat between me and Ling. But after that, I asked myself, when we do get into a good university, then what? The expected answer would just be continue studying hard, graduate, then get a job, right? But I continued to ask myself, but what is the point of us always competing, always trying to reach for the top when there are other approaches to life? Usually, if I asked my mom this, she would just say, oh, so you can support me later on in life. And that is the reality for a lot of students who are constantly working hard to achieve their goals. But a lot of us, like me, may not have a deeper sense of purpose behind all of these checkpoints. I love learning, but I don't want academic validation to be the only thing that defines my life. So, what is the meaning behind all of this? Why are we as humans working almost industriously in this competitive academic environment and putting all of our self-worth into it? Is this how we're supposed to function? Now, before we get back to the idea of art, I'd like to reemphasize that I myself have been carried away with what a perfect life means for the most of us. I wasn't necessarily consumed with my studies, but I did have a sense of self-worth connected to my grades. And somewhere along the way, amidst all of that rigidity, I decided to watch a movie. Now, it was nothing special, but there was one scene that effectively struck me. And it may sound cliche, but I started noticing all the little details and how they affected me. How a certain scene, when paired with certain background music, can evoke my feelings profoundly. And I realized my main worry at the time, which was studying, took up pretty much most of my thoughts. And yet, I couldn't link it to any reason of my own. It was like I chose to chase something before I fully understood what I was chasing. Now, if what I said sounded too abstract, then let me show you an example. I will show you two short clips that I've put together and see if you notice the differences. Let's start. Hold on, I think there's a technical issue. Okay, so that was the first clip. Let's watch the second one. So, if you haven't noticed, these two clips, except for the background music, are completely the same. But just a change in the music could alter the mood and atmosphere of this video significantly. I am using the two clips to show you all how a simple thing such as music can shift things within yourself significantly. And in my case, I started to reflect on myself and question what I had been doing so mindlessly. Because sometimes certain things feel mandatory, especially for students who are working endlessly towards one goal that they thought was the basis of life. But when we try to think of reasons why we had to do all of this, we can't think of any except for expectations. And it seemed obvious, almost natural, that we would have to do all of this. But then it's really not. Now, let me be clear. I am not encouraging students to let go of anything. But my point is, art is what effectively made me reconnect to the more emotional, intuitive side of myself. I realized that I may have wanted all of these things, all of these achievements, but I couldn't find a reason of my own. I was still missing something. And various forms of art were what filled in that empty space, allowing me to reflect on myself. Only then did I feel like I was conscious of what I was doing with my teenage high school years. And it made me feel more human. But don't just take my word for it. There has been research on this. A study of young people aged between 18 to 28 found that those taking part in organized artistic activities felt happier, and they also felt that their lives had more meaning. This study also showed that we would physically benefit from art, as engagement can help us to manage our own health more proactively, such as staying physically and socially active. So clearly, art contributes to our overall well-being. We feel more alive mentally and physically when we connect with art. Now, everyone's experience with expectations and validation is different, but I am here today to share my story. For students who may or may have felt like me, being so closely tied to the score on a piece of paper, for anyone losing track of themselves, I won't tell you what or what not to do. But in my experience, look at art, novels, movies, music. These are the things that have kept me alive instead of working mindlessly like a machine. So I would like to encourage anyone realizing that they have been essentially working without purpose. I want you to stop for a moment, reflect through any form of art that you resonate with. It doesn't even have to be what is typically considered art. It can be through an item gifted by a loved one, or the flower by the side of the street. It can even be the weirdly shaped cloud that reminded you of something. Because art relies on the part of us that can look at very mundane things and find emotions, connection, all without a marked scheme defining us. I think that is very uniquely human. And maybe that is what being human means. We are the most human when we connect with art, with all of these emotions that shape our view of the world around us. That is all I have to say. Thank you.